Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Stoverload Music Podcast. And you guys know I like to bring you something special every once in a while, and I'm doing just that again. Now, if you listened to our show yesterday, we had our first ever single of the week. And it was a great choice, too, because our guest today is also the artist who had the single of the week with her newest song, Simple. Want you to welcome the amazing, the beautiful, the most talented Miss Malissa Whitehouse to the show.
Oh, wow. That was an introduction. Thank you so much. Do I need to send you a check in the post?
We'll talk about that later.
Okay, after the show. How are you, Mike?
I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good. I've just got out of the studio. I've been busy running around. Yeah, it's been a busy day. So yeah, lots of good things happening. So yeah, I can't complain.
I could tell they are great things. I mean, I was listening to your single while I was putting the show together, and I played that thing 3 times in a row because it's a beautiful song. It's catchy. It's very calming, but also fun at the same time.
Oh, fantastic. Yeah, it's quite a good, like a driven track, really, compared to the other songs that I'd released before. So things really started to move for me. Obviously, being a UK artist and having the chance to come over to the States has been like a dream come true. So obviously that single, I really wanted to kind of hit with the American market as well. And that's exactly what it's done. So it's had a huge amount of airplay stateside. And you guys have been amazing. So thank you so much. And obviously all around the world has been amazing. But obviously over in America, it's kind of been around about 56%, I think, of my reach. So yeah, so thank you so much to everyone that's supported it. It's been amazing. It's been an amazing 6 weeks on the promo.
We always say on the show that good music speaks for itself. And the kind of reception you're getting and the fan base you're getting and all the attention you're getting, it's obviously just that. It's simple, good music.
It is simple. It does what it says on the packet. Yeah, it certainly does.
Take us behind the song, because I was wondering if that was like one of those Christian spiritual type messages behind it. You know, having faith, or is that like a relationship, someone you're in love with, maybe?
You know, it's obviously relationship driven, but I would say the journey that I've had with Simple has been quite biblical, and at the same time, it feels like a higher force has kind of helped me with other things that have gone on, because everything has fallen into place. I'm quite a spiritual person. When I go into the studio, I write with my heart. Obviously, I kind of connect with everyone on all levels every day around me. And I embrace things and kind of, you know, when I write lyrics or when I'm working with the team, we come up with ideas and things. Dear Diary and Wine and Roses, those tracks are obviously about relationships and the journey of somebody kind of finding their true love and the ups and downs that we all go through as men and women in relationships. Simple is a different kind of song, because it's not about that I'm in love or I'm looking for this or whatever. It's like it comes to you. It's something when somebody walks into your life and you have that moment and you just think, hold on a second, have I just connected with that person and whatever? And there's a few people that had gone through that situation that were kind of new to me after kind of COVID times and different things that had happened with stories. And I'm always listening. I always get people I don't know what it is about me. People kind of like sit and tell me their stories, which is great. But that really helps me immensely on the lyrical side when I'm in the studio. I'm working with Kevin Hughes, who is the producer who has produced on all 3 of those tracks, has just been putting heart and soul the last few months into those tracks with me, which has been amazing. And the next single I actually heard the last couple of days, and it's gone another level again. And I kind of think, hold on a second, 2 years ago, I had a really bad accident. I nearly died. It was a horse riding accident, but I had 3 breaks in my back, shoulder injuries, everything. And I was flat on my back for around 6 months. And I'd always written for other artists, always given my skills and work after I was in a team band when I was younger to other people, really, because I went the other side of the fence. I'm older, I'm not a teenager anymore. And I was kind of putting my efforts into kind of being the kind of singer-songwriter. I signed with Peer Music worldwide, which was an amazing opportunity, and started writing for artists from The Word and X Factor in the UK. And many doors opened, but at that particular time, I was asked to write for an artist for The Voice. And it was the same week that I basically had the riding accident. And it was just one of those moments where life just made me stand still. And I just kind of thought, oh, what am I going to do? I'm stuck in bed. I'm frustrated. There's all these things I wanted to do. And I had a little moment where I thought, do you know what? I could have died. And I hadn't, if I'd been taken off the universe that day, I would have been really hacked off, because there was all these things I wanted to do. I thought, do you know what? I'm going to kind of go through my catalogue of songs right the way back over 20 years And Dear Diary, Wine and Roses were tracks that were kind of half written, half through mix stages and whatever. And we basically picked them back up and took them back into the studio and finished them. And then they became my little gems, my babies. And this is how the journey started. So it's quite amazing, really, to think from something so awful came something so positive at my time of life, really, because I'm not a teenager. I'm not in my 20s like most pop artists and things that are kind of doing the rounds with stuff. And to have actually cracked it on the US side as well, it's just like, how did I get here? This is great. I love it. I'm loving every moment, Mike, at the moment. And to be talking and connecting with you and the fans that are listening to your show and everything is just a dream come true. I'm just counting my blessings at the moment. I feel blessed, definitely.
Well, like I said, that song's highly addictive and it's easy. You could play it over and over again. And ever since I heard it, I think I've been singing it to myself, just the chorus over and over again, because it's not something you can get out of your head.
It's a little earworm, isn't it? Yeah, well, that's a good thing. I think that's always kind of a good track, isn't it, really? You must get tons of demos and tracks that you play, but it's always wonderful to have that kind of compliment where somebody connects with the track, which is brilliant. So thank you very much.
And I never really thought of it or seen it as like a pop song. It doesn't feel like that. It feels more like a soft rock type of deal.
Yeah, you have got a rock element to it, 100%, obviously with the guitars and the way everything's layered. It's interesting, actually, because Kevin Hughes, who is the producer on the track, he's kind of grassroots, started from a rock band. So he's very driven, very kind of, very particular about the way certain things kind of gel together in the studio environment as well. He will spend ages concentrating on the harmonies, how things kind of connect, the way one guitar kind of meets with another and whatever. And I think that's the beauty. We've got a really good pop song, but there's a rock element and it's got that driven element as well, which is something I really wanted to do. It's kind of a bit how can I do a bit Pink-esque with a bit of like Alanis Morissette with something else going on, but it's got more of a Madonna-y, softer pop vocal vibe going on with it. So it's got that commercial radio vibe to it. So that's kind of where we wanted to land. Yeah.
Yeah, and the vocals, your singing is beautiful because it's not overpowering. It blends perfectly with the music. So you have that nice complemented balance between singing and the music. And that's why I think that song is just so great. Everything is perfectly balanced. It's simple.
It is simple. It literally is. So yeah.
This might be a little bit fun. I think I should include a Pee-wee's Playhouse every time we say what's the word of the day. That's going to be simple, and we'll have celebrations going off.
Exactly.
How many times will we say simple?
I know. It's funny, actually. I did a US pro sport kind of channel over there for my first week on promo. And the radio pluggers here in the UK said to me, it will be a simple interview. You literally will go on there. It will be a pre-record. And I'm like, okay, great, simple. So I connected onto the Zoom call. What I didn't realize was it was going out to about 700 stations live. So when I connected on, I could hear all these American adverts. And I was thinking, is this live? Oh my God. And then I realized how many people were tuned in. That day, it went absolutely nuts on the YouTube. The YouTube started to fly up and everything. It's quite amazing now what you can do over the internet, Zoom calls, the way we've all connected with everyone since COVID times and whatever. So little old me kind of being in kind of a studio environment in London and whatever, and the reach that it's got is just nuts. I think it was over 3,500 radio stations in the States played it last week.
Wow.
So, yeah, and some of them are kind of single of the week. Some of them are just kind of like the odd occasional play, and some are on rotation. So it's building and building, but it's so hard because I can't chart because the Spotify is low because not so many people are downloading versus how many people are checking out the video and knowing that they can just put it on YouTube and keep playing and playing. So
right.
If I had actually got it the other way around, so my YouTube of over 160,000 was Spotify download, then I would have got a #1 in the UK. I don't know what the actual sales are in the US, but it's just the way the music industry is at the moment. You do all this work, all this promo, which is amazing because people are so awesome kind of listening to the track and giving you radio time, et cetera, but it's trying to get those downloads when you're an independent artist. That is the hardest thing to crack. When you're signed to a major, obviously they have huge investment a massive marketing machine and stuff. So that's my next challenge, really, how I kind of increase more on people downloading and not just hopping onto the platforms where they can just play it again and again and don't download. I think that's the hardest thing with independent artists at the moment. I think a lot more from the UK, US, worldwide would be getting through if more people were supporting. I know it's a pain. I know it's kind of a couple of dollars or whatever from your side, or a few pounds from the UK, but it would just help the independent artists so much if more people were downloading the independent artists, not the great big ones that we all know from the Taylor Swifts and Ed Sheerans and stuff like that. It's a given. They've got their finance from the record labels. They've got a lot of money behind them. They're going to land in a good space. Where obviously, like myself and all, I think there's 60,000 tracks a week go out on Spotify. So to even get the opportunity, even coming on your show today, it's kind of like a chance in a zillion to kind of get them tracks through and to kind of get the kind of attention, because so many people are releasing songs at the moment, because you've got all of your DistroKid and kind of Apple iTunes. Everybody, if you've got the kind of skill set and you've got a home studio, everyone's got that accessible to them now. So it's quite oversaturated. So it's trying to find a way through to get those breaks and things. But I think one thing that I'd like to say to anyone listening to this show, if you are over 25, over 30, you're in a band or whatever, and people go, oh, you know, you missed your chance or whatever. Don't listen. Do exactly what you want to do. There is somewhere for you out there. And I think it's just one of those things that there is that ageism in the music industry. And I've been asked by press in the UK the last couple of weeks, my opinion. We have a major radio station here called Radio 1. And as my understanding is from the journalists that have asked me the question, anybody over the age of 35 is being kicked off the playlist because it doesn't meet their demographic, which I was just like, oh, they can't do that.
Right.
They are. And you know, it's hard. Music is music. Same as love is love. You know, all of these things that we have as humans around us, you know, if you can share that and enjoy it and embrace it and whatever, then, you know, why should there be an age restriction? So,
right.
It's madness. I don't know what it's like stateside for that, but that was something that's been going on in the UK press. So obviously you have to be careful. You don't want to upset anyone by being over opinionated or whatever, but at the end of the day, you know, we can all be part of it, can't we, really?
It's definitely different, because I remember growing up at a time when a band had new music coming out. This is, you know, before the internet. They would have promo CDs.
Sure.
With just those. And it's like sometimes I kind of wish artists would bring that back. You know, there was most fans have something physical in their hands, something they can actually hold. You know what I mean? Not just click a button and wait on it.
Yeah. And I think so many people now are going full circle, where they're kind of going back to the vinyl, going back to the cassettes. Like when I was a kid, I used to get my pocket money, and on a Friday or a Saturday, I used to kind of go down to the record shop. There was nothing better than buying vinyl, getting it home, playing the new 7 or 12-inch of something. And I know people still have record shops and things like that, but obviously this download and everything takes that element away. So it's great to kind of, you know, have the vinyls and cassettes, but we always do that, don't we? We end up going back to the beginning, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, it's so cool, I've got vinyl coming out. It's like, we had that years ago. But
it was more personable though back then. It was just, it was more personable. It wasn't something you could just click a button on. It's something you actually had to go and get. You went to hang out with your friends. You went to see your favorite artists. Sometimes you got to meet them. Yeah,
of course. Yeah. And you know, I think that's the great thing. I had this wonderful story. I've got this amazing artist actually who is in London, and he's a busker, absolutely awesome voice, called Lonely Ghost. So I need to say a little hello to him, because he's been flying the last few weeks. He was in Leicester, I think it was Leicester Square in London this week. And the band U2, which I'm sure you're aware of U2, Bono and The Edge.
Yep.
They were walking through Trafalgar Square and heard him play and bought his CD from him. He had his CDs pressed in a suitcase, literally, kind of playing his song. And Bono and The Edge bought his CDs. Like, how cool is that? What's the likelihood of that actually happening? And I actually did a post on my Twitter. I think it's so important that artists that are very successful support the new artists. It's kind of that nurturing. So yeah, I kind of saw the pictures online. I thought that's cool. I like that. It's great.
Well, the show though, no matter how famous you are, you still love music and you like to have music around you.
Exactly. Yeah. But I just didn't think it was the everyday story of someone kind of doing that, but they did. I just thought that was really, really a nice moment. So really good.
And one day it could happen to you. I mean, who knows? 10 years from now, you may be walking through the square and hear some
There
street
you
performer
go.
and it'll happen with you.
Yeah, and that's one thing I've always done with my journey. I had my own recording studio, obviously writing for other artists. I'll always nurture and support. I had no one in my family when I started out that was musical. I was the only one. I was kind of the odd one in the family, really, that wanted to kind of follow that journey. I think my parents were a bit like, really, you want to be a pop star? You want to be a singer? Okay, how long is this going to last for? But when I was 16, I got my first break by sending in a demo to a big TV show here. And the director basically said, LL Cool J was due to come over from the States and basically couldn't make the actual show for that week. And they had made the decision to give a new demo band, an up and coming band, that slot. And I was only 16. He literally just called and said, look, we'll send you a car. Can you come down to the studio and perform? We hadn't rehearsed. We hadn't done anything. We literally had done it like in a garage kind of studio. And we turned up at Wembley, these big London Lush studios with all the cameras flying around. And we ended up performing live to like a 300 strong crowd on a Friday night, kind of prime time. And I haven't looked back since. It was just literally, I was doing my studies, I was at school, and I kind of left school early that day, jumped in the car with some friends that were musicians, managed to get through the actual TV recording. And then by the following Thursday, I had like a management deal. So that was madness. Absolutely. That was wild. Because I was like, my friends were like, was that you on Friday night on the TV? I was like, yeah. Yeah, it was nuts. Absolute nuts. So yeah, that was good. But I think if you ever see an opportunity, go for it. Never hold back, because you never know. You never ever know.
She took the words right out of my mouth, fans. I was just about to tell you, if you got a dream, go after it. You never know when it could be accomplished or what might happen. And she beat me to it.
Exactly. You never, ever know. I think as humans, we're always worried about rejection and someone saying no. My journey has been no the whole time. I'm one of these people that will keep kicking and be tenacious of like, well, if I can't do this, maybe I could do that. Maybe I could change that. Literally, even with my publishing deal, I went in there 5-6 times. They were like, come back, develop, write some other songs, do this, do that. And I was just like, okay. And then it was like, well, we need a platform for your songs. How can we kind of support your music to be, featured on something if you're not a younger artist? So I got the opportunity before COVID to work on a TV script. It was an idea I've had since I was very young, actually. And I managed to get the script done with a really good UK writer, and I managed to get it signed. But when I got it signed, I went back to the publisher and I said, look, now I've got this TV show signed. It needs music. It needs a soundtrack. I'm going to write the soundtrack. It's like, oh, okay. Well, go away. And I did. I wrote, I think it was 3 or 4 songs. And they were like, I'm not really sure if they're right or wrong and whatever, do a bit more work on them. And I spent another year developing the tracks. Then I managed to land a really nice deal with the publishing company. So I had the vehicle for the songs. I think that's the hard thing. Music doesn't just sustain itself just by being music. It's either in an advert, it's on the TV. You're either kind of going on tour, selling lots of kind of seats in an arena to basically pay with the merchandise and things like that. There's got to be kind of a business, a brand behind what you actually are. So I think if you are a musician out there, unfortunately, it's not solely just about the love of music. Even if you look at massive artists like Adele, like the journey that she's gone on from the Brit School in London to where she is now as this phenomenal, huge worldwide star, is quite fascinating to see her journey from what she looked like, from what the songs were. And I think the beauty of her as an artist is you've seen that full journey in the public eye, because she was so young. She was a teenager. Now she's a young woman. She's gone through all those relationship issues. She's come out the other side, and it's like a phoenix rising from the ashes with it. So it's great to see how some of these artists have actually broken and the journey they've gone on.
I love hearing stories like that because I remember growing up watching VH1's Behind the Music. And it
I
was
love that
only then
show.
before the internet, that's the only time you really got to hear backstories about someone's journey in this business to where they got from point A to point B and all
Yeah.
the trials and struggles they had along the way, but they maintained their dream and kept working at it no matter what.
Absolutely. And I think it's been fascinating for me because I do a co-host in the States with an on-air personality out there called Steve Benz. We do a show called Out Loud. It comes out weekly. And basically, it's about the differences between the UK and US in relationships, pop culture, the backbone of kind of stories with artists. We get different celebrities come onto the show. And what's been fascinating working with him is he has such a knowledgeable kind of background with what songs are and the background of who's worked on them and what the story is. So I'll listen to certain songs and I think, I'll take from that what I think that song's about. Like you asked me earlier on, is it kind of about relationships? Is it something more? Is it something else? And then he'll say to me, did you know that song was about blah, 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 blah. I think it was Toy Soldiers Martika, I think he was telling
I
me
remember
about.
that.
Yeah, and obviously it was about I believe it was about somebody that was close to her who basically was really ill, etc. I don't know the full kind of story, but he was kind of talking about it on the show. And I was thinking, I never thought Toy Soldiers was about that. I never, obviously thinking military toy soldiers. It just wasn't what it wasn't. And I think that's fascinating when you really get the honest story, like you said, that VH1 story behind the music, when you can really connect with that artist and really understand what that songwriter was thinking at that precise time and how we as the public interpret that when we listen to it in a music form.
Right.
It's amazing. You can put 10 people in a room and everyone thinks it's something different. But that's beauty, isn't it? It's creativity.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing
Yeah.
about music is that you can always get a story, you can get
Yeah.
something like a message, something to help you relate. It's
Yeah.
also a description of how you feel, or it's a good outlet to get you through something, both good or bad. That's just the overall gift of music.
It is. And I think if you're going through a moment in your life as well, the way that you kind of relay yourself, sometimes you can be in a really good mood and listen to a song and the song feels like a happy song. But then you can go through a really bad day or have like an emotional thing and the lyrics become something different because you can relate to them in a different way and they're more storytelling. And it's quite interesting. I think with lyrics, I just love, that's the beauty of what I do daily is kind of I'll have a situation, I write things down, and then I think to myself, okay, how can I make a twist on this? How can I make it more universal for people to connect with it? And that's, I just think the beauty of words is something that has fascinated me since I was little, really. I've always been kind of a storyteller or kind of writing kind of stories. And I loved English literature when I was at school. So it just seemed a natural progression to kind of go into songwriting. But I don't play any instruments. Everyone keeps saying to me, what instruments do you play? But I hear the full composition in my head. It's really weird. Since I was a child, I can literally go in and they call me Miss Bossy Boots in the studio. I'm like, that needs to be done on the drums. You need to do that on the keyboards. We need a backing vocal on this. We're going to layer this up. And they're like, how do you, I can hear it. I can hear it all. So I'm good at bossing everyone around. I can put basic keys down, but give me a guitar or kind of if I wanted to play full keys like a piano, I'm not that great, but I just love the performance side with the voice and how you can layer it, harmonies and everything like that. But if somebody said to me, oh, you've written some lyrics, as soon as those lyrics are put down to paper, it's like I can hear the full composition. I can hear everything and I know how I'm going to get that song put together when I go into the studio. It's very, very odd because no one in my family is really musical either. So I don't know where that came from. My dad always says, well, I was in the choir. I'm like, Dad, it doesn't count.
Difference, Dad.
Yeah, it's not cool, Dad, not cool. It's kind of been something that I've just loved. Even when I was younger, and I got like my first little tape recorder thing and stuff when you're a kid and like the microphone trying to record songs off the radio and then DJing and singing in between with things. I just always had that connection from when I was about, I don't know, 5 or 6. So
Right.
it started quite young. I was determined and poor kids in the neighborhood, I used to rally them up and say, right, we're going to do a show, come into my garage, sell tickets, everything, and put like little shows on and whatever. So it was always within.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I don't think the kids in the neighborhood thought that. They were just like, oh God, you're so bossy. So yeah, but it used to be cool.
Well, we're at a point in the show right now, and I think you're perfect for this. We're at a point in the show right now. We do something special. It's called The Floor is Yours. And I like to leave a little bit of open time for our artists. If they want to say anything to their fans or new listeners or anything at all, what would you like to tell them?
I would just like to say, actually, can I just say a huge thank you to everyone that has reached out over the last 6 weeks on the new promo for Simple. It's been a challenging time after being so unwell and having the kind of confidence to kind of push with the tracks when the journey started. But I literally started on Twitter with no one following, obviously wasn't sure how I was going to get that reach and everything. But the love, compassion, support, and the way that people have retweeted, turned up for different events, different things that have happened, it's been amazing. And at the end of the day, without the fans, without you sitting here spending your time in the studio talking to me, this doesn't happen. So I just want to just say thank you with all of my heart for giving me this platform, this chance. I'm working really hard so there's more material to share with you guys. So yeah, I think it's really about a bit of love being kind of sent back, and thank you. It's not gone unnoted, and I feel very blessed with the way the situation's been over the last few months. I've worked hard, but it's not always about hard work. It's about the way you connect with people. 100%.
I think we should be the ones thanking you for the amazing music that you're making.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you, Mike. That's really kind.
For new listeners and anybody who's just coming across you and they want to follow you and find you, how can they do that?
Yeah, if you go onto Twitter, actually, that's my main platform. I've just gone onto Instagram, but that's still building. So if you go onto Twitter, it's Malissa White HO1, and everything's on there on that platform. And you can also go on to melissawhitehouse.com, and it's Melissa spelt with an A, Malissa. So you will be able to find me. But all of the releases are on DistroKid. You can also go onto my YouTube channel and Spotify. All of the songs, all of the releases. So Dear Diary, Wine and Roses, and Simple are there. And I'm hoping, if all goes to plan, that around June time, we'll have the 4th single landing. So fingers crossed.
Oh, believe me, there are a lot more than crossed on this one, because fans, it's like I told you guys, I heard Simple and it's a beautiful song. And if it's anything like the other two and what's coming soon, you're going to want to jump on board this train.
Definitely. Yeah. Don't miss the train. It's going to be good. And I'm hoping, with what's going on as well, to get over stateside to do some gigs and do some supports. There's been some conversations flying around. So hopefully get to meet you guys soon as well, which would be amazing.
That would be awesome. I'll be there front row.
Oh, bless
front
you.
row.
Well, I made it to Nashville. I had lots of people saying they wanted to adopt me, which was really kind. So yeah, I will definitely be making it back to Nashville in the next few months, I hope. And yeah, coming over to see you guys, which I love the States. So it's going to be amazing to be back.
Awesome. Well, unfortunately, fans, all good things must come to an end, like I always say. And this has been a lovely time we've been spending with you. I know there's a big time difference. It's like 3:30 by me and it's going on 9:30 by you.
It is, yeah, 6 hours apart across the pond. So,
yeah, you'll be sleeping good later.
All good. Thank you so much for having me on your show. It's great what you're doing for artists as well, Mike. It's fantastic.
I'm trying. That's all I can do. I'm just a middleman trying to show everybody to check out the artist.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you so much for your time. And thanks to everyone that's listening.
Well, fans, you heard it right there. And she told you where to find her work, how to follow her. And as I said, go get behind her and support her. Her music is great music. There's music for every mood. Her music is the kind of music you can listen to in any mood.
That's good. That's good.
Until then, fans, I'm your host, Mike Stover. This has been the most beautiful and talented Miss Malissa Whitehouse. Till then, we'll see you guys soon. We're out.